If you've ever made a beautiful classroom expectations poster in August and watched it stop working by October, this episode will show you how to rebuild expectations with your students so they actually stick while also feeling relevant and relatable for you both. Welcome to the Voice of the Student podcast, where real student stories meet the science of well-being, energy, and learning. I'm Dr. Kelley Spence, a well-being specialist, education advocate, and author of The Voice of the Student, here to help reimagine education so that teachers are better resourced, students are truly seen, and classrooms become places where both can thrive. This space is dedicated to you, a hardworking teacher and educator, offering grounded, science-backed, energetically aware strategies to support your well-being so your classrooms can better meet and exceed the needs of your unique 21st century students. So take a breath, settle in, and let's explore how caring for your nervous system, your intention, and your energy is one of the most powerful ways to transform education from the inside out. Everything in this movement to reimagine education for both teachers and students rests on a simple truth. When we regulate the adult nervous system first, we create the conditions for adolescent brains to feel safe enough to learn, take risks, and engage more fully in the education experience. When your body is grounded and your energy is intentional, you can design a classroom that works with, not against the teenage brain. So well-being and learning rise together. Most teachers have been told you need clear rules and expectations, and that's true. But if those expectations live only on a poster you made by yourself in August, they're likely to fade by October. The adolescent brain craves both structure and agency. Today, we'll talk about how to create expectations that feel predictable and safe because they're clear, and powerful and sticky because your students help build them. From a teen brain perspective, predictability is calming. When students know what to expect, they experience less anxiety, and their nervous systems can relax enough for real learning to happen. Clear expectations can reduce confusion and power struggles. They can increase engagement and follow-through. And they can build a greater sense of belonging and fairness. But here's the key. Expectations are most powerful when students see them as ours, not just yours. So step 1, let's get clear on your non-negotiables. Before you ever invite student input, take a quiet moment to ask yourself, what do I absolutely need in order to feel safe and able to teach? And what kind of energy do I want in this room? And where am I flexible and where am I not? Write down 3 to 5 non-negotiables, such as we speak to each other with respect, phones stay away and turned off during direct instruction, and we don't laugh at or mock someone for trying. These are your anchor points. Students will add to them, but they won't replace them. Step 2. Co-create the class contract with student voice. During the first days, or even mid-year if you're resetting, you can invite students into a structured conversation. You might ask things like, what helped you feel safe and ready to learn in a classroom? Or what are the most important expectations you have for this class? Or how do we treat each other in this room? And what are things we don't want to allow in this space? As you co-create class expectations, capture student words in real time. On chart paper, the board, or a shared doc. Pause to reflect patterns back to them, like, I'm hearing a lot of you say you want respect, fairness, and no judgment when people make mistakes. That's really powerful. Then together, group and refine their ideas into a short class contract. Ideally 5 to 7 clear, positive statements instead of a long list of don'ts. Knowing the things you don't want in your classroom space is just as powerful as knowing the things you do want in the space. But reframing the don'ts into a positive statement reinforces the focus on what is expected. Module 2 of the Engaged Classroom goes deeper into this process, offering sample questions and contract language you can adapt to your own teaching style and student population. Step 3. Make expectations visible, real, and revisited. Once a contract is drafted, post it in a visible spot. Read it together, and invite students to sign it or verbally agree to it if that feels aligned with your class culture. Most importantly, treat it as a living document, not a decorative poster. That means referring back to it when things go off track, like, okay, let's pause. What do we agree this class would feel like? Or celebrating when you see it in action, like, hey, I noticed a lot of you helping each other today without being asked. That's exactly what we meant by supporting each other's learning in our class contract and expectation. And being willing to revisit it mid-semester with student input. Asking, is there anything we need to add, adjust, or clarify now that we've lived in this class for a while? When students see expectations as evolving agreements, not fixed rules handed down from above, they're more likely to take ownership of them. Even with the perfect class contract, you'll still have rough days. The power of co-created expectations is that you lean on them together. Instead of, because I said so, you can say, remember we agreed to this, let's figure out how to realign with what we said we wanted. That subtle shift from my rule to our agreement can lower defensiveness and invite students back into responsibility for the space they're in. Expectations aren't about controlling students. They're about creating conditions where everyone can feel safe, respected, and ready to learn. When you let students help shape those expectations, you're not just managing behavior, you're teaching collaboration, responsibility, and real-world communication skills they'll use far beyond your class. You don't have to hold the classroom culture alone. Let your agreements help hold it with you. Before we close, I'd love to invite you into one reflection. If you rewrote or revisited one expectation with your students this week, which one would it be? And what's one question you'd ask to bring their voice into it? Share the expectation and the question in the comments below. You might give another teacher the language they've been looking for. Thank you for spending this time with the voice of the student. Here, teacher well-being is not an afterthought, it's the foundation. When the adult nervous system is grounded, classrooms become safer, more human spaces where the adolescent brain can finally exhale, engage, and thrive. If this episode sparked ideas for your classroom, imagine what's possible with a step-by-step roadmap and a community of educators doing this work alongside you. Head over to thevoiceofthestudent.com to learn more about my foundational self-paced online course, The Engaged Classroom, and my educator training, the Reimagine Educator Method, both designed to help you transform the teacher-student experience with science-backed tools, intentional classroom energy, and sustainable habits that work in real schools with real students. If this episode supported you, please like, subscribe, and follow The Voice of the Student and share it with one teacher friend. Together we can elevate the teacher-student experience, one nervous system, one class, one student, one teacher, and one school at a time. Your energy, your intention, and your voice matter more than you know. Listen, innovate, educate. Thanks for listening and all that you do. Until next time, when we talk about emotional intelligence in the classroom and simple EQ routines for high school teachers on The Voice of the Student. Thanks for listening.